Hey guys, what's up? It's Codemaster Baconator. I'm back with another chaotic video. If you hear music in the background, that is for my grandmother's dogs. I'm at her house right now. I'm awaiting for her return to surprise her. So, you're probably wondering, so what the hell is this video? It's my idea for what Chaotic should do with a mobile app or video game and their online game. Alright, so what we're going to do is first crush this Canada Dry. Save that for recycling. And we're going to use, you know what, I've been showing off my Underworlders, so we'll go with my Marillions. Alright, so for the card showcase. So let's start with, I don't know, let's say the least most plausible one and the one that makes at least the least sense to me in today's market, a video game. Which is not to say that I don't want a chaotic video game. Believe it or not, I really, really want another chaotic video game. That's not Shadow Warriors. Which is not to say I didn't mind the game per se. I just feel like the most marketable one, the DS one, where you can play online more readily with other players out in the wild, like, I don't know, like a Pokemon game, it just didn't really work out. So what we're going to be doing is talking about what I think should happen. Alright? So with a video game, there were rumors suggesting that with Brian Gannon, the creator of Chaotic, the guy who created Param, I should say, in my opinion, wanted a VR game similar to the Slugterra and Beyblade ones that are coming out. Or at least the ones that are in development. I don't know if they are coming out or not. But what I think should happen is have it set up similar to the TV show, where the kids would, take, their little cards, all right? Let's say you could enter in a code for a card and the database is back online. You would take, and this is how I want to integrate all of them in the same thing, by the way, so keep in mind. You make a Chaotic account and you link it to, like, let's say PlayStation, for example, because I play PlayStation. PlayStation, like VR and all that. You link your Chaotic account to your PlayStation account and onto your phone, alright? It's gonna get spicy. Hear me out. Let's say you have, I don't know, Everrain, alright? Because that was the first location I pulled up. We'll start with all the cards I think should go based on the format. We have Everrain. Let's say you have a code and you enter it into the game. That card, this Everrain in particular, is available into your account. And it will tell you, hey, you got this on this account. Or let's say you play a Chaotic game on PSVR, and let's say Glacier Plains Marillion Melting Camp, this card, is exclusive to the VR experience. You could have that code, and you can have it transferred to, like, your mobile account or your online profile. And let's say you want to trade somebody, and they're like, oh, here's the origin of this. This is where I can get it. And this is how you can cross-promotion. So let's say you're playing a game online, and the way it should work, at least in my opinion, is going back to Glacier Plains, you select your location. This one pops up. And, of course, you set up your attack deck on your profile. You set up your music, your battle gear, your creatures, all that stuff. You would select your creature, obviously, by tapping the picture or whatever it shows on the VR game, and your controller would, like, vibrate or something. And you would look at yourself, and you would be that creature, okay? And there's a Spider-Man Far From Home VR game which demonstrates this point, that you can have an open-world VR game and you can attack each other using, the attacks that are tailored to you. Like, let's say you're given a special attack. You would attack with it, and then you'd be given another attack at random to use. You would have to flush this out, of course, but it would give you an attack at random. Let's say you attack your opponent with Hydro Balls. The effects would go off. And let's say you have Milaine, who has 70 wisdom, and the effect states, if you have 50, you gain water. And let's say you lost it. Boom, you get your water attacks back. And sometimes they would fizzle out. Like, let's say you lost your water attacks and you decide to play Everrain. It would be like a fizzle effect and it would give you a new attack. But let's say, obviously, it goes through, okay? It would deal, that water blast, and it would say what attack it is. I don't know if it would have the ability to like give you environmental effects or anything like that, but I'm imagining, you know, I'm going bare basics here, where it just shows like a water stream and that's the attack. You know, obviously some of them would look standard, like, you know, Tidal Surge, but let's say you have something like, what's a good example? Rage of Ani, where you look at the picture and it looks like a bunch of tentacles are about to like pull somebody in. It would just look like a stream of water, but it would tell you what the attack is, so you could follow back through the effect. And a form of like dodging and all that should be applied, you know? And of course, Peyton in the show mentions you cannot outrun Mujik. So let's say you use Marillions to lower stats and you use Decelerating Requiem. You use that, codes the creature, you're back at the drone. And that should be like the hub world is the port core. And when you're about to battle somebody, you're in the drone. Doesn't matter exactly what drone you're in, at least right now, but that's how it would work. And the way you would equip like your battle gear is like a little button on the controller where you would tap it and boom, you would get it. So for an example, let's say I'm playing Milaine and I have the Torrent Crypt. I would tap a button, I would look at myself, boom, there it is, right there. How cool. So that's how I think the VR experience should be handled. It's very bare basics, alright? It's whatever, alright? So the next one we're going to be talking about is what's probably most definitely coming back is the online game. And then followed by what I think to be the best decision for the mobile game. So, going with the online game, I honestly think that they should just use a updated format to what they were using in the online game, where this is how I see it happening. We have, you know, you create your avatar, whatever you want to look like, and you would have your deck, right? And the online game would provide you with like a starter deck, which of course you can link to your other, your PlayStation account or your mobile games. That way you can transfer those cards to, you know, not saying that you can't have your online deck versus your physical deck, all right? You start off with that, and let's say you want to enter a code, like Milaine, for example. You would type in, I don't know, blah, 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 you know, your 12-digit code, and then boom, there it is. And you can, of course, link it to your PlayStation or your mobile app, so that way you could use your physical Milaine in the game. You would select a player, and you would hit challenge. And I don't think that they should have the battle drones the way they worked online, which is you pick a server, which was the battle drone, and you would battle there, because I feel like servers could get crowded. What I think should happen is you battle, and let's say you want to battle, like, let's work it with the show, all right? You needed 7 wins to challenge a Codemaster. What I think should happen is you have 7 matches, and if you win 7 matches in that drone, your 8th match will be your Codemaster match. And the way that would work is if you win, you get an online exclusive card. One that you can only use online, and your profiles and all that for your app and the PS game and the online game. Alright? Now you're probably wondering, but what if I wanted, you know, physical? I'm getting to that, honey. You wait a minute. So, honestly, I think that's how it should work. And have, like, the grid set up like the show. Click, location would shuffle, it would reveal, click a creature. Just play chaotic online, though. You know? Like how they do in a Tabletop Simulator or Untap. I don't know how Untap works. I hope somebody can send me a tutorial and all that. But anyways, so now we're going to move into my favorite idea, and that's the mobile app. This format has been burned to the ground, but it works. Just do what Pokemon Go did. What it did was you walked around and you could catch Pokemon, flick your thing, and get it. Alright? Very simple. Chaotic should implement a similar thing. And have scan quests where you can walk around and specifically look for creatures. Specifically look around for... Son of a bitch. I should have had my cards ready. You can walk around and have scan quests set up for creatures, set up for battle gear, set up for Mujik, and set up for, I mean, shit, even attacks where you can walk around and find two creatures fighting, and right as it's about to attack, you know, you can scan it while they're fighting, and a random attack that they used will be, you know, scanned. Or you can walk around and look for locations, right? So based on, like, where you are, you know, it will pop up like, go to this place for a location scan. And with Pokemon Go, there were Pokemon like hotspots and all that. There should be like hotspots for like locations so you could scan it, and so that way you get what you want. All right. And depending on the weather, how about that? You know, let's say you're in Arizona where it doesn't snow. All right. You can have a system where it recognizes that. So that would be the alternate version. So let's say you have Glacier Plains. All right. Like a standard Glacier Plains. And I went out, scanned it in my hot Arizona sun. Go to an ice cream store, scan it. All right. And boom, there's Glacier Plains. But let's say it's raining that day. I would get this version. All right. Or, of course, you can enter in the code, or, alternatively, if Chaotic decides to abandon the codes, they could use, like, an AR scanner thing. And what I honestly think should happen is this. This is going to sound a little controversial, but hear me out. I feel like the codes should stay, but it should not be limited to only one person can have that code. It should be one per account. How about that? So let's say me and my brother, like, let's say you have friends who just can't get a Miltank. You could send them your code and you two would just have the same Miltank. But my argument is this. Since it would recognize, oh, this person has the same Miltank in the match, it would randomize the same creature stats. Because let's say the same codes are available, or rather shown, and the server recognizes it, it will change whoever has like the most amount of wins or least amount of wins. I don't know how you would do it, to be honest. Like, let's say me and my brother picked Miltank, for example, because that's just the example I want to use, because he's just on top of my deck. So he has 45 courage, 85 power, 70 wisdom, 40 speed, 60 energy. Let's say him and I were to activate this code. All right. So it would recognize, oh, this code has been entered. You get the exact copy. But let's say, since now that code is used, it's now sent to a different program where if you enter in that code, you'll get the same card, but it's a random stat. So then it turns to an online exclusive card. You see what I'm saying? That's based on this card. And that's how I think it should be done, because to be honest, I feel like the no two cards are the same gimmick is awesome, and I love that about Chaotic. It's one of those things that got me hooked onto the game in the first place. But I think in a truly random system, you will eventually find somebody with the same thing. Because in the show, you know, if two of the kids, you know, scanned the same creature at the same time, the stats should be the same. That makes sense. And should make sense. At least in the real world. So now we're going to go knuckle deep, specifically in the mobile version. Because that's one I think makes the most sense. You walk around, you scan your creature, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you guys are familiar with the latest Lego set, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it uses that VR scanning technology type situation where you could play like mini games and you could scan and have a collection of creatures and ghosts and all that stuff. Chaotic should work the same fucking way. You know, you're walking out and you get a little alert on your thing, like it shows like the Chaotic symbol, you tap it, it's like, look around for the creature. And let's say you're looking for Gantrak. Alright? It's like Gantrak is around, and they play on, oh, how big is he, you know? So they would show you, and you get points if he doesn't see you. You know, your scan would be better for that. And let's say they see you. Let's say it had a courage of, you know, my Gantrak, for example, is, oh, come on, focus. There we go. 45 courage. Alright? So let's say he has the 45 courage, and you scan him without noticing you. Alright? But let's say he does notice you, but his courage will drop a bit because he notices you and he's scared, right? So he would have 40 courage. You know, it drops by a little. And he starts attacking you. And then that's when you have to like sway and move your body around and make it into an actual interactive experience where you yourself have to dodge him. And let's say you have like a little like health bar, like a little shield type thing, where if you're hit so many times, you get sent back to the port court to start a new scan quest. And of course you could go back to finding Gantrak, but there would be like a time limit, like an hour or half hour or 10 minutes, whatever the hell you guys want to do. That's how I think it should go. But some creatures do like humans. And I think that should also be random, because whenever two cards are shown, together and they're obviously different, the gimmick was creatures have made new experiences, therefore they're different. Let's use Dornick. Let's say Dornick being a Marillion. Marillions are typically evil. They don't really like humans. Let's say, for the sake of talk, Dornick likes humans. And you find him, he will strike a pose, like he'll flex or something, and you'll scan him, and you have his code. Okay? So the next time you want to scan him, you can scan the same creature multiple times, get different results. But I argue the only way you should get a perfect creature is if you have the physical card. And then that's when you can scan the card, and the code would be... Let's use K-Roll. And the code would be whoosh, right there. Obviously, you can't see the code because I'm covering it, because this is my K-Roll, the Fierce, not yours. I would scan it, and the code would be registered, and it would go like, okay, it recognizes these. But let's say you can't read it. That's fine. That's why you enter it in. You would go... AB 44 CD 76 A B69. All right. So you would enter that in. That's just a random code I pulled off my ass. So if that winds up working in the future, I created a specific card. I just want to throw it out there. And then that creature, gets entered into your account, and then boom. And the way it would work with a scan quest is, let's say you lose to a creature and you have all these scans. If you die in the game, you would lose all those scans in that scan quest because you have to leave. You didn't lock them in. So let's say you lock them in. That would lock all your those scans for that scan quest for a certain amount of time. Then you can't scan quest for specific like Marillion, for specific creatures. Because in Chaotic, there could be an Overworlder hanging out in the Mepidum Oasis, or a Danian hanging out in the Underworld Coliseum. So creatures should be random, but it will give you what you want based on like your preference. Like let's say you set yourself up to be an Underworld player. And of course, whenever you link an account, it'll go like, oh, is this your only account? And you'll hit yes, and it'll give you a starter deck. And the same thing would go with all three accounts. And the way that I think they should balance it is, let's say you have an account on PlayStation and an account online, but you want to link them. I argue that there should just be no way of doing that, because then you could get an infinite amount of cards, and that's just unfair. So you're just going to have to link them through email, but you then could use it as a trade system on two separate devices and try trading. But I don't think that's how it should work. I think it should work how, let's say I have the PlayStation VR, the mobile app, and the online profile. I have a Milla-E, or actually no, we're going to change it up. I have a Galdrad scan that I want to trade up. So there would be like a trading little area. So you would set up, let's say for, that example, Gantrak was an online exclusive. Obviously that doesn't make, or Galdrad, would not make sense because he's obviously a physical card, alright? But let's say that was the only way to get him, right? And you had it on your online profile, and you want to use it in your VR. You could use it in your VR since it's tied to your account, but it would show, hey, that's from your online account, not your PlayStation account. And, let's say a player wants it, it will tell you, oh, this was somebody's scanned card or their online card. And that's how I argue let's say you bump into somebody, you're like, oh, let's play Chaotic, and they see, oh, now I know your stats. That's a way of kind of like metagaming in a weird way to cheat. But I feel like there would be rules and implications to be slapped in and to figure everything out. So with that being said, that's my rundown of how I think all the Chaotic stuff should be worked out. This is a rather long video, longer than the recommended format, which is 10 minutes, which I think is garbage. Kids grew up with 30-minute cartoons, not 10-minute ones, just saying. Let me know what you guys thought down below. And I do think this could work. I really do think this could work. If you take the time and work out all the kinks and listen to some of the things that I had in mind, as well as take the suggestions of others. You know, kindness pays itself forward, frontwards and backwards. So, with that being said, I want you guys to let me know what you thought down below. And if you guys have any further ideas on what you want to see in the Chaotic VR online game and mobile game, let me know down below. Because I'm interested to hear your guys' suggestions. I'll be sending this video to Brian Gannon, because I hope he'll, you know, listen out, because he's liked some of my tweets. You know, I feel like he knows that I don't exist. To be honest, you know, he knows that I'm just a fan. But I would love for Brian Gannon to take some serious notes with this, because this is something I know a lot of people are passionate about. And I feel like with the whole people feeling like, oh, you know, Pokemon Go has made me lost weight from running around, you could say the same thing about Chaotic. And you could say the same, you know, you could say the same thing, and then people go like, oh, what's this? And then check it out. And with the idea and the weird news that some card games are just dying out, you know, I'm pretty sure Force of Will is... correct me if I'm wrong, I really don't know, but in my area, in my neck of the woods, you know, Force of Will is dead. Magic the Gathering is... it has its own shop here, you know, Mana Works. So, it's pretty popular. Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't really see that dying anytime soon. The Pokemon card game, I really do think that it's just you collect the cards, you don't really play the game. At least that's what it's like in my neck of the woods. Again, I'm not saying for the game as a whole, but that's my opinion, alright? So with that being said, that's the video I have for you guys today. I want you guys to drive safe, be safe, alright?